Hey everyone, this is Joanne coming to you live from Boston. I'm also known as #UnicornBoss. So as you guys are jumping online today, go ahead and hit me up with some unicorn emojis since those are my jam. If you're grabbing me live, go ahead and leave me a number 1. And if you're catching me on the replay, go ahead and leave me a number 2. So super excited today, you guys. I just wanted to pop on here really quickly. I'm on my lunch break and just share with you this most recent nugget that I got in my personal development. So if you are a believer in law of attraction or manifestation, make sure you friend me and follow me and share out the video. Please say hi as you're jumping on because you are definitely my people. And I get a lot of people that ask me how I changed my life so drastically. If you're a new friend, by the way, say new in the comments here. That way I can give you a special hello. But if you're brand new to me and you don't know my story yet, 5 years ago, I was in a completely different place. I was in a toxic, abusive relationship. I had been suffering in that relationship for 8 long years. And during that time, I had been desperately trying to change my life very unsuccessfully. In addition to that horrible dark place that I was in, I was also almost 300 pounds. And I just really, it was so toxic. It was so stressful. It was so dark and gross, you guys. And oftentimes you'll hear me talk about how I woke up every single day hating my life. I cried every day. I truly hated my life. So how did I get to change that? You know, I've got a lot of DMs recently. You guys are asking me, like, listen, I know you drink that fancy drink and I know that like you changed all of your life, but like, how did you do it? Okay, so I'm going to teach you the secret today. So if you want to know the secret, let me know. Say secret here. Don't forget to friend me and follow me. Please share out the video, you guys. I so appreciate your love and support. And if you're like watching in the background, drop a couple hearts, say hi, do anything you can do to help support the video. I really appreciate you. The algorithm is so different now, so unless you guys are interacting, it tells Facebook and Instagram and TikTok that you don't like my stuff. So if you like it, please comment, please drop a heart, please say hi, and share the video. I love you. Thank you so much. So I'm reading this book, by the way. It's at least my 3rd time reading it, probably my 4th time. I highly recommend it. It's by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So one thing I really knew 5 years ago was I recognized I hated my life, I was unhappy, and I was desperate to change it, and I didn't know how. And the ways that I was trying to change it wasn't working. So if you can relate at all, say not working in the comments here. It wasn't working. I was trying all of the things and nothing was working. And it's what I started to, and I discovered this all on my own, just like a divine inspiration really almost, was that I woke up one day and I realized nobody was going to come to save me. There was no Prince Charming. There was nobody on their white horse. I had this innate knowing very naturally that I had to do something different. And in addition to hating my life at that time, I also hated myself. It's a tough thing to sit with, huh? And I know there's so many of you out there that feel that way. And if you feel safe enough, drop a heart. That might be something you want to just keep to yourself. So just recognize that. And I want you to do it without judging. Notice if you hate yourself, just notice it without judging, sis. Okay? Just see that it's there and recognize that you'd like to not do that. You'd like to be different, okay? And if you want to be different, let me know. Say different in the comments here, because that is so powerful to just proclaim that I don't want that for myself. I don't know how to do it, but I want something that looks different. There's so much power to that. So what I recognized was at that time, 300 pounds in a toxic abusive relationship, hating myself, hating my life, that there was a lot of negative self-talk. And I realized one day, looking in the mirror, I was saying some really awful things to myself, telling myself how fat I was and how ugly I was and how nobody would ever love me, how everyone always abandons me and no wonder nobody wants to be my friend. It's actually hard to say that stuff again because I've like just not done it in so long. And I know so many of you are out there doing that because it's kind of like my expertise. I really help men and women see their worthiness and fall in love with themselves again, right? So if this is resonating with you, please say hi, drop a couple hearts, share out the video. Thanks for saying hi over on TikTok, you guys. I was looking in the mirror and I was saying downright vicious things to myself. And most of you guys have been following me for a couple of years. You know, like, I am so kind-hearted. I am nothing but a lover. I love, and I love so deeply, almost to my detriment, because I will put others before myself time and time again. I was saying these downright vicious things to myself, and I looked in the mirror and I started crying because I realized I would never speak to my own worst enemy that way, which, by the way, I don't have enemies really because I am such a lover. But there was, at the time, at my corporate job, I had this toxic boss, and I realized that as much as I didn't enjoy her presence, her narcissistic attributes, I didn't enjoy the way she spoke to me, how she treated me, I realized that even though she was probably the person I enjoyed the least in my life at that time, I realized I wouldn't even talk to her the way that I spoke to myself. And it was really a life-changing moment. I'm crying, looking in the mirror, recognizing the viciousness that I was giving myself, and realized that it's a toxic loop. I did it all day long, 24/7. So, and I talk about the toxic loop a lot. And it's just like, it's a term that I've coined, but if you can relate to the toxic loop, let me know, say toxic loop in the comments here. But all day long, anytime I walked past a reflection, anytime I walked past a window, it was, God, you're so ugly. God, you're so fat. God, no one will ever love you. No wonder that your boyfriend abuses you. You're disgusting. You're hopeless. You're not worthy. You don't deserve that. And like, those were the nice things that I said to myself. It got so much worse. When I say vicious, I mean vicious. Cutting myself down, not once a day, not twice a day, but literally 24/7, because I tend to have a little bit of an obsessive personality. I'm a little bit analytical. So when my logical brain gets turning, and I have a little bit of ADHD too, and I see the shiny, but for me, the shiny was the ugly things that I obsessed about that I couldn't stop thinking about. And Attraction Marketing 101 teaches you that you are what you think. What you think actually becomes your reality. So if I'm honest with myself and I look back, there's no wonder that at that time in my life, no wonder I hated my life. It was toxic and gross, and I talked to myself and I manifested the things. I manifested a man that abused me and took advantage of me and treated me horribly. I manifested everybody abandoning me because I believed that. I believed I wasn't worthy. Funny story, the whole I'm not worthy thing, because that's a big one still that I'm healing to this day. Once I joined my online business and I started to change my life, my mentor said to me, you need to come to this event. It's going to change your life, and it's going to help you so much, and you're going to build so much confidence, and you're going to learn, and you're going to grow, and plus I want to meet you and give you a hug. And I was like, I interrupted her in the middle of the invitation, and I said, oh, I can't go to events. And she said, well, why? And I said, well, that's not for people like me. I'm not meant for things like that. And she's like, what do you mean? What kind of people are meant for things like that? I said, well, I've got 23 cents in my checking account. I'm not one of those people that can just afford to go buy a plane ticket and travel. I'm not one of those people. Wow. Talk about speaking the truth into existence. I was never going to change until I opened up to a different belief system, to a different pattern. I remember a couple of years later when I wanted to really scale my business, and we were pushing to do multiple six figures and sales. All my multiple six-figure sales girls, they all had these beautiful MacBooks. This might be silly, but it's a short story to really illustrate it for you, how this makes sense. They all had their MacBooks and all these, their iPhones and all these beautiful things. And I was just like, that's not meant for me. I'll never be one of those girls that can afford to have a MacBook, And then I had actually it was a conversation with a sideline sister, and she said, I thought you sell like $1,000 in trials every single week. What do you mean you can't have a MacBook? And I didn't realize how much, even still, even after years of growth, even after making really good, successful money with the business, how these limiting beliefs were still freaking in there, in the toxic loop. So I remember at that time, I didn't just have $1,000 sitting around, but I put something out there that, needed to upgrade the computer. Who can I help? Shared my story. And I want to say in 3 days, 3 days I went out, I had the money. It was so easy once I shifted the mindset. You know what I mean, you guys? You guys are in the toxic loop and you're telling yourself the things that aren't real, and you believe it so much that your thoughts and your feelings have merged. So I would love for you to think about some of the I am statements that you're saying that you may not even realize. It's so subconscious sometimes. Like I said, walking past, getting in the car and seeing my reflection in the car window and thinking to myself, you're fucking disgusting. You're so ugly. You're so fat. Sorry, TMI. Sorry for the trigger warning, you guys, but I'm speaking from my heart. This is, if you want to change your life, you have to stop with these I am statements. You are creating your reality and you have complete control over it. Isn't that the best part, you guys? Say control in the comments. I want you to type it. I want you to speak the energy into existence. The best part about all of this is that you have the power to change it. You have complete control. One morning I woke up and I was not listening to a podcast. I was not reading a book. I was not doing anything. In fact, I was suicidal. I hated my life that much. And I looked in the mirror and I was crying because I heard the viciousness that I was saying to this sweet girl every day. And innately I understood that I had to do something different. You have complete control. You can make that decision today if you wanted to. And I would love to help you. Thanks for the hearts over on TikTok. Please say hi, drop me a follow. Don't forget to friend me and follow me and share out the video. So your I am statements have become absolute. Your thoughts and your feelings have merged and they are now one. And those memorized feelings contribute to your personality traits. So I was kind of known in my 20s and 30s, and of course much younger as well, the high school kid. I was known as the lost, broken girl that didn't have a family. That was my personality trait. Oh, well, she's Joanne. She's just so broken. Don't worry, she's too shy. She won't say hi, but she's a good person. Keep her in your life. It becomes your personality, comes in the innate character of who you are. And I'm going to actually read this statement because it was so mind-blowing to me. And I've been doing this work for years, but I want to share it with you. If you're wondering why you can't change and why things are struggling and why you really want to change your reality and you just feel so stuck. When your feelings become the means of thinking, or if you cannot think greater than how you feel, you will never change. So I'm going to say it again. If you lead your thinking with just how you feel, if you just go off of how you feel about yourself, and you can't think greater than that feeling, you will never be able to change. And this was so true, because let me tell you, sis, 5 years ago, when I was that suicidal crying girl looking in the mirror, hating her life, deep down I knew I was a good person. If you asked me logically if I was a good person, if I deserved a beautiful life, if I was worthy of love, if I should have a beautiful man in my life, I knew that I should have those things. I knew I was worthy of it. I knew I deserved it. But my feelings weren't attached to the logical knowing. Does that make sense? There's a difference between what you know logically and what you actually feel in the secret parts of your heart. The way I felt generated my reality. So it didn't matter how logical I was. I mean, there were days I told my mentor, but I am grateful. I know I'm grateful. And she said, you're grateful up here, but not here. And I really didn't understand what she meant until I started to do the work to where I to where I changed how I felt inside. You have to think greater than how you feel, whatever that reality is. And I talk about this a lot, you guys. When I escaped my abusive boyfriend, it was very dangerous. It was very traumatic. I almost didn't live through the night. I hid under the bed. He took my phone away. He locked the doors. I was kidnapped and held hostage in my home for almost 48 hours. And shoot, why did I tell you that story? I almost didn't get out with my life, okay? But I had to change the thought. Oh, that's what it was. So when I finally got out, it went horribly wrong. A girlfriend drove up from Long Island to help me escape in the middle of the workday, and the police were called, and I got out with barely my life, my dog, the shirt on my back, and my purse. That was it. It was so tragic and so scary. And I was sleeping on a stranger's couch, and I had nothing, you guys. And I was crying myself to sleep. I cried for 30 days straight. I have never been so broken in my entire life. I've never felt so unloved in my entire life. And I was crying on this stranger's couch. And I had absolutely nothing to be grateful for, nothing to be thankful for. At least I thought. And I kept getting this divine inspiration, like to write down gratitudes. Write it down. I'm like, what the F do I have to be grateful for? I've got no money, nobody that loves me. I'm sleeping on a stranger's couch. I'm essentially homeless. I had a long list of responsibilities and things that I needed to do. And I felt like I had nothing to be grateful for. And that is the furthest from the truth. So I don't care where you are in your life. Maybe it's worse, maybe it's better. But even in the darkness, there is something to be grateful for. And I remember sitting at my now she's a friend of mine, but I was sitting at the stranger's kitchen table, looking out the window with my diary. And I thought, wow, the grass was blowing in the wind. And as the grass blew in the wind, the sunshine was like beaming off of the blades of grass. And I thought, wow, that green is just so pretty. And I watched it and I was mesmerized as the light danced off the green blades of grass. And that was the first thing I wrote down. It's making me emotional. So thanks for sticking with me. If you learned a couple things, let me know. Say learn in the comments here. I'd appreciate it. Drop some hearts and likes. But as the grass was dancing in the wind, I wrote it down on my list and I said, the grass is green. It's so pretty. And that one moment of gratitude began to change my life. Because I stopped leading with how I felt. And I started to actually shift into thinking greater than how I felt. I could have let that moment of brokenness completely cripple me. I could have allowed myself to sit there broken for so long that I was forced to go back to my abuser, which was one of my biggest fears, right? But one gratitude at a time, I began to think greater than how I felt. It's powerful, right? So to change is to act greater than how you feel. You have to push back. The feeling is temporary, you guys. You have to push past it. You have to shoot for greatness. So if this is speaking to you, let me know. Say greater in the comments or here, or say greatness. I want you to speak greatness into your life. And if you're not careful, you guys, your feelings will control your thinking, and your thinking will then drive your body. And that's why, have you ever noticed in a moment when you're so stressed the F out, you feel so horrible in your body? It affects your whole nervous system. You have heart palpitations, you have anxiety, you can't sleep at night, you're binging sugary drinks and food because the stress, right? So if you're not careful, your feelings will control your thinking, and your thinking will actually drive the body, and the body can actually become sick. Living in a fight or flight, those high levels of cortisol for almost a decade, you guys, I'm still bouncing back from the physical consequences of doing that to myself every single day. So this was just such a major takeaway. I'm reading this book again. I wanted to share it with you. I wanted to really speak from my heart because, you know, my gift zone is helping men and women love themselves, saying, I am worthy, I deserve more, I want more. I want you to know that you deserve a life that is healthy, happy, and wealthy. You deserve all of the things. And 5 years ago, that broken girl that was sleeping on that couch, that was devastated and lost everything and with a toxic, abusive boyfriend, she didn't think she deserved it. I thought, well, making all that money, that's not for people like me. Traveling, that's not for people like me. Having babies and healthy relationships and doing fun things and being truly happy, I just thought that's just not for me. Who says it? If you say it, you're actually speaking it into existence. You have complete power to change your life, and it all begins with you. It all begins with you looking in the mirror, loving yourself enough to stop the feelings and think greater. Be greater, do greater, just one little step at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. Just one step. I began with waking up and understanding that one day and looking in the mirror and seeing the toxic dark loop. And I did personally, my thing was I did mirror work for about 6 months. Every single day I would stand in the mirror and tell myself the hard things. And when I looked in the mirror and I didn't see beauty, I would say, I am beautiful. And I didn't see it at first. But after enough practice, I did. You know, one little step at a time. And then what happens is you build momentum and you start building confidence. We talked about confidence last week, right? So if you missed that, go back and watch the replay for the confidence video. And as you get more confident, guess what? It gets easy. And it starts to actually change your whole energetic footprint. And with just one step at a time, I changed my entire life. And now I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. And I love myself, and I love my body, and I love who I've grown to become, and I love this business, and I love my team. And we helped change thousands of lives. All because I loved myself 5 years ago enough to do it for me. So I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for watching. If you made it through to the end, thank you. If you want to know, if you're somebody that wants help changing, let me know. Say change in the comments here. If you want to know how I make money from my phone using social media in my spare time, I would love to chat with you. I would love to show you how easy and fun it is. and I want you to know that I was that girl 5 years ago that said, I can't be one of those people. I told my mentor, I don't want to be one of those people that goes live every day. I used to think they were silly. But let me tell you, coming on here now and pouring love and speaking life into you is one of my favorite things in this whole world. It is truly my gift zone. And I would have never known that back then. But if you're just brave enough to say, I want change, I want different, I want more money, I want to maybe get healthy, I want to be happier, just be brave enough to take that first step, sis. And I would love to hold your hand and help you with it. So if you want to make money, let me know, say money in the comments here. If you want to get happy, let me know, say happy. If you want to get healthy, say healthy. And remember, lead. Here's the phrase. Remember, you have to think greater than how you feel. You must think greater. You can't act on feelings. If you truly want to change your life, you have to think greater. So I love you guys. Have an amazing day. I'll be back to chat with you again soon. Take care.